A warm welcome to tonight's edition of Breeding to Win, and what a victory by the CTS ready-to-run graduate Yulong Prince, formerly known as Surcharge, who won his first Grade 1 in Australia and earned over 10 million rand for his new owners. He's now boosted his earnings to over 17 million rand. A great feat for South African racing and, of course, the CTS ready-to-run sale. The 2020 CTS Ready-to-Run sale takes place online on Sunday the 29th of November, and Madison Park wasted no time in showcasing their draft at their open day last Sunday.
Welcome to Madison Park for their open day, and we'll be bringing you around 29 two-year-olds. It'll be on sale on the 29th of November, courtesy of CTS. But firstly, I have to welcome you from Hassan Adams and Rayan. Hassan obviously has been fairly ill, but pleased to report that he's making great progress, and he sends everybody a big thank you for coming out and sharing this day, and he certainly hopes to catch up with you all soon. Terrain and your team here at Madison, thanks very much for everything. And I think everybody has to agree. What a beautiful setting on a Sunday afternoon to see some fine, high-quality racehorses. We'd also like to thank Bevan and Newton Johnson. They're the guys that have been here serving you wine and drinks for the day, and it's great to have them here as well. Bevan, to you and your team, a big thank you as well. Just a couple of reminders. Obviously, the Gavel House CTS Ready-to-Run stroke 2-year-old unbroken sale takes place on Sunday, the 29th of November at 4:30, and you need to just chat to us in terms of getting yourselves registered, and that sale is online from 4:30 onwards. It should take about 6 hours, I would think, online. The gallops for the ready-to-run horses take place on Monday the 16th and on Friday the 20th, and that'll be at Durbanville, and you're all invited to come participate there, and you'll be able to get some breakfast with us. And a reminder that all these horses that you see today will qualify for a sales race, and that sales race will be in excess of R1 million. And in today's terms, with the stakes as they are, I think that's all pretty exciting in terms of racing. In fact, the sales races this year are probably going to be the biggest and the wealthiest races around. Well, it's been a fantastic day out here at Madison Park. We've been viewing their yearlings and their two-year-olds, more importantly, that are on the Gavel House ready-to-run sale, stroke unbroken two-year-olds. That's going to take place online on the 29th of November. But one of the most important people here on the farm today is Bevan Johnson, because they've supplied the wine. Newton Johnson's obviously a big name here in the Himalayan Arder Valley. Firstly, thank you for contributing to the day, and have you enjoyed it so far?
Yeah, very much. I mean, thank you. These are my neighbours, so it's lovely just to actually go across the fence, not even really, and I'm not even in driving distance of home. So no, it's been a lovely day. It's been an incredible day. I mean, it's lovely to see the valley showing off like this for everything we've got to offer, whether it be horses, yearlings, 2-year-olds, as you say, and wines. It's been an incredible day. Lovely.
Well, you've got great wines on offer. I think most of the people in the racing industry know it because most of the guys have come out either to visit Nadison or to the farms next door. And obviously we've got a wonderful day, as you said, but things have been a little bit tougher. You've gone through COVID, and obviously your restaurant and your wine sales obviously took a little bit of a dip there as well, but nice to be coming out at the end of the tunnel there.
Yeah, no, it's been a very difficult year, and I think it's one of those where everyone sort of plans for the worst. We're very fortunate, though, thankfully that hasn't happened to us. Yeah, we've been affected greatly, but fortunately people are thirsty and they are keen, and thankfully our region, whether it be from down the bottom of Hamilton Russell right up through to Creation, we're about 12 producers all in all, we've been well supported, and the industry has thankfully it's coped well, and it's been an extremely difficult year, I think, for whatever industry you're in. But we're very grateful that, especially coming into summer now, that people have been following well and being grateful. We've seen our private sales increase dramatically, and unfortunately restaurants, as they always do, a sector that we get on very well with. We've supported restaurants incredibly over the last few years. They're obviously taking a hit, and we're all hopeful of here in Amanus of a fantastic summer to come. Hopefully now into November and December for a great summer season to come.
Well, I think from your business to our business, we rely on quite a bit of international trade with the English swallows coming through you as well. So they buy horses, they drink your wine and that. But I want to just touch on this wine now. We're drinking some of the Pinot Noir. Tell us a little bit about the range that you guys have at Newton Johnson.
Sure. I mean, the whole reason why we moved here as a family in '97 was to pursue this wine, Pinot Noir. It was a vision of my father's. My brother and myself, we were too busy trying to surf and drink beers and didn't quite get with the vision, but we moved with the family. And it was all about pursuing this grape variety. The Himelanada itself is the only region in the Cape that has Pinot Noir planted as its number one variety. And essentially, it's all about our proximity to the ocean. So as we sit here, we're about 6 kilometers from the sea. We've got the southeaster blowing right now. I always call it that tablecloth and table mountain. Essentially, we're Kirstenbosch. We're that wooded area. So we benefit a lot from the southeaster and the sea, and that allows us to work with Pinot Noir. And I mean, again, being right next to a town like Hermanus, again, we expected to only be seeing the town being busy and the valley being busy once international flights started again. But the regions around, when it opened up, Cape Town was here in full force, thankfully. Johannesburg is here in full force. Many other regions. So South Africa has done us very proud. They've really enjoyed coming to the town and really enjoyed. I mean, accommodation on most weekends now are full over the weekend, and we're fortunate. Like somewhere like today, the restaurant is full over at the winery. So we're grateful, very grateful.
Yeah, we've spent many a day here looking at yearlings and then moving across the road to the Newton Johnson restaurant. Some of the nicest food that you'd get in the Himelanada Valley as well. So much to look forward to. It's a really special valley, isn't it? Because there is a bit of something for everybody.
Yeah, very much so. Again, I sort of said I've lived here now for 23 years, and I didn't envisage that back then. And now these days, whether it be now putting kids through school and the town itself. I mean, the town has virtually in 20 years doubled in size, but there's a lot more dynamics to it now. The tourism industry is huge. We've got then the stud industry through here, so we've got Nadison Park, our neighbours on the other side, Himelanada stud, and that's fantastic to see how everything really works together. And it is truly, if I can say, I mean, I'm biased, I live here, but it's been a phenomenal place to live. And so much so with friends. I mean, the Cape is full of beautiful locations, but thankfully none of them have swayed me to ever leave here. So I'm grateful.
Well, from us, from Nadison Park, from Cape Thoroughbred Sales, thank you very much for participating in the day. It's been fantastic, and I think I'm going to sample a bit more of this with you now as well.
Enjoy. Thank you.
Great stuff. Thanks very much. And welcome back to Fee, who I think we'll be missing out on today. She really does like her wine, but we'll have her back on one of the next days out here as well. But back to the studio.
Sittendale Estate offer a range of superior services for all thoroughbred owners, breeders and trainers, and they have no less than 25 lots representing them at this year's sale.
There are plenty of quality horses to be found in this year's Sittendale Draft, and horses that have made great improvement through their preparation, with more to come. We are very excited to present them to you at the Gallops on the 16th and 20th of November. Lot 7, Whatever Next, by What a Winter out of Patala. Out of the Grade 3 winning Daughter of Captain L, Patala, this What a Winter colt is built to sprint with an incredible hindquarter and gaskin. He has an economical daisy-cutting action to go with it. Lot 15 is an unnamed Captain of All out of Ruby Bay, out of a half-sister to a top racehorse and sire, 7th Rock. This strong, well-grown filly just oozes class. She looks early and has shown good work. Lot 26, Master's Queen, by Master of My Fate out of Temora. A half-sister to recent sophomore sprint listed winner Speed Machine, by the sire of recent Grade 1 winner Sent by Destiny. This filly is very racy and quick. Lot 38, The Futurist, by Futura out of Black Mischief. A real classic prospect with a ground-covering stride that reminds you of his sire. This is a November foal and will only improve from here on. Lot 39, Unnamed, by Var out of Butterfly Kisses. A compact sprinting machine. This filly is very precocious and quick, with a host of black-type horses in her pedigree. She has substance and a deep girth and has just flourished through her prep. Lot 56 is Unnamed, by Captain of All out of Glorious Moment, a scopy son of Captain of All with excellent rein. He walks very well and a good hind quarter. Lot 63, Incredible, by William Longsword out of I Lived. This impeccably bred son of William Longsword is out of a half-sister to Vercingetorix and looks the part. He's a strong, muscular, yet racy colt. Lot 73, Demelza, by Rafif out of My Claire. Beautifully put together filly from the first crop of talking horse Rafif. She floats down the track and looks as though she has the scope to be more than a pure sprinter. This is just a taster of what you can look forward to from Sittendale at the Gallops on the 16th and 20th of November at Durbanville Racecourse.
Thoroughbred Sales have announced a new partnership with Prime Trees, so let's find out more.
Prime trees is a very big concern here at Mr. Co Equestrian Centre, and it gives me great pleasure this morning to introduce you to one of the owners, Bruce Stewart. Bruce, thank you very much for having us here this morning.
It's an absolute pleasure. Welcome on this beautiful day.
Thank you. I don't know a lot about trees. Obviously they're very, very beautiful, and you've got an awful lot of trees here.
There are probably about 70 or 80,000 trees on the farm, ranging from babies right up to our big beauties over here. And mostly indigenous, mostly evergreen, but we do all kinds of trees.
Yeah, it's absolutely amazing. They look so beautiful. Obviously takes a lot of hard work in terms of watering them and keeping them fresh.
It's a very labour-intensive business, and we are in contact with our plants every day. Each plant is touched by somebody or given attention daily. It's not just a thing that parks and lives on its own.
Just like looking after an animal, I suppose.
Absolutely. I mean, it's very similar to looking after livestock. It needs constant attention and care.
Well, being based out here at Mr. Co, you're surrounded by farms and countryside. There, obviously a lot of farms come to you for trees.
Farms or farmers are some of our bigger clients. Obviously people who are beautifying their estates and farms. Property development, all the malls and all of this development going on in and around the city. Places like Valdevie and those sort of places are all big clients of ours.
Wow, that's amazing. And of course you're going to be helping out with the Cape Premier Yearling Sale in January, because we're going to see some of these beautiful trees outside the temporary stabling block, which is going to make it that much prettier as well.
Yeah, we're very excited to throw some shade on the races. It's a new thing for us and we're excited to join you guys.
Yeah, it's going to be great, and not only are you getting involved with the sales, you're getting involved with some sponsorship at Kenilworth Racecourse as well, so that's absolutely fabulous, and you can have a nice day's racing.
Yeah, we're looking forward to that. I've never been to the races, so that's going to be fun for us, and it's something new.
Yeah, it's going to be amazing. But if people want to get involved in your trees, you've obviously got a website and you're out there for anyone to get hold of Prime Trees.
Yeah, absolutely. We've got a great website, easy to use. Yeah, pretty easy to get hold of on the web.
And as you said, you've got trees of all sizes here, big or small, depending what the customer wants. And just explain to me what trees we've got behind us now, because they've got the beautiful orange leaves on.
Yeah, so
Orange
this is
flowers.
the common coral tree. Again, a fast-growing indigenous tree, and beautiful when they flower. And these trees that we're standing next to have been grown from seed by us. So this tree is now approximately 6 years old. We always say that we don't sell trees, we sell time. And then we just sell time according to your budget.
What sort of trees would you be using for the Cape Premier Yearling Sale?
Cape Yearling Sale, we're going to be using water pear and waterberry, and I think possibly some of these erythrinas. I can't remember the exact list. But I think it's going to be really fun to actually just bring in some instant shade there and just change the whole look and feel of the place.
Absolutely, it takes the harshness away of the stables. It's going to look pretty, and as you said, add some shade as well. But really is stunning to see so many beautiful trees. And you say this spot is somewhere you sometimes come and bride just for the beauty of seeing the trees.
Yeah, absolutely. We like enjoying the farm, and I think it's quite nice for the guys to every now and then sit under their handiwork and kind of enjoy it. This is one of our special spots on the farm, yeah.
And you said to me earlier you're the owner of the business, and you've got some partners as well.
Yes, we've got Rake Breers and Michael Wall, obviously from Mr. Co. And yeah, couldn't be done without them. But I'm the guy at the coalface daily in my trees.
Yeah. Well, it's fantastic. You obviously love your trees very much, like their family, but it's great to have you involved in the racing and with the yearling sales. So we look forward to seeing you at Kenilworth Racecourse and, of course, out at De Grendel with your trees by the stables.
Absolutely. And then we look forward to meeting anybody who would like to know more about our trees at De Grendel.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, you've got to get involved with your beautiful trees. They do look amazing. Thanks very much for taking the time this morning to chat to us, Bruce.
You're most welcome. Thank you.
Thank you. Great to be here at Mr. Co Equestrian Centre at Prime Trees. As you can see, so many beautiful trees to choose from behind me, and it's great that Prime Trees are getting involved with the Cape Premier Yearling Sale out at De Grendel, and of course the racing at Kenilworth as well.
Donker Boost is a complete and well-balanced multi-nutrient paste headed up by Dr. Corinne Hills, a Canadian-born veterinarian with over 20 years equine experience. Dr. Corinne Hills tells us more about Boost.
Thanks for joining me for a brief summary of Donker Boost. Hi, I'm Dr. Corinne Hills, veterinarian from Donker International. If you've been watching the rest of my videos about Donker Boost, you'll realize there's an awful lot of information, so I'm going to try and give you a bit of a summary here. Donker Boost is a complete, balanced, bioavailable multi-nutrient paste that I developed for horses in my veterinary practice to fill the gap between good daily nutrition and the increased requirements horses have at times of stress when they're working hard, traveling, competing, or ill. Unlike people that tend to turn to food at times of stress, like chocolate, horses have a tendency to go off feed and drink less than they should, just as their requirements for nutrients increase. Donker Boost provides a practical way to deliver essential nutrients that horses need to support optimal metabolism, performance, recovery, and health. It contains all of the water-soluble vitamins, electrolytes, trace minerals, and amino acids in doses that reflect what researchers have established horses need at times of stress. I've included those nutrients in forms that the body's really good at absorbing and using, and I've provided them in good balance with each other and with the cofactors they need for absorption and function. Donker Boost provides a balanced electrolyte as well as unassembled amino acids, and these safely support thirst in horses that might already be a little bit dehydrated. Donker Boost provides B vitamins in good balance with each other, and I've provided the entire group. They're important for sustaining normal appetite, energy levels, nerve cell function, and mental focus. Donker Boost provides vitamin C, necessary for the absorption of iron from the gut, folic acid, necessary to bind iron in the blood, copper, iron, the B vitamins, and all of the amino acids required to support normal red blood cell synthesis. In many countries, veterinarians recommend giving half a syringe of Boost every second day for up to 2 weeks as an alternative to the more expensive, more invasive injectable products. Donker Boost provides vitamin C, B vitamins, calcium, magnesium, phosphorus, and all of the unassembled amino acids that work together to support muscle cell function, muscle cell recovery, and muscle development. This might be really useful for you. If you're training young horses down, you often find they'll get to a point where they go through a bit of a flat patch. They're not working very well, and they're often not eating very well. Consider this. It takes up to 96 hours for muscle cells to recover from hard work, and some of those individuals, standardbreds in particular, that are often training 3 times a week, may not be fully recovering from one work before they have their next work. If muscle cells aren't recovering very well, they'll have some pain and delayed stiffness, and that doesn't make them feel very good. Also, because they're working quite hard, they may not be eating very well. If they're not eating very well, it can take longer to repair muscle tissue, and pain and stiffness can persist. And if pain and stiffness persist and they don't feel very good, they often will eat less. If you can try and support normal appetite, you can support muscle cell recovery better. And if you can improve muscle cell recovery, you can support appetite better. B vitamins actually can be useful in a lot of horses, those that are a little bit off color, aren't eating very well, or have a poor hair coat. After consulting with your veterinarian about some of the other possibilities causing those problems, you might give a half a syringe of Boost every second day for 2 weeks, and you might even start with 1 full syringe to help pick them up. However you're using Boost, I implore you, please check with your own rules of competition that apply in your country. Donker Boost is used in more than 30 countries in a broad range of equestrian sports. The rules vary depending on where you are in the sport you participate in. In some places, you can squirt it straight in the mouth from the syringe on the day of racing or competition. For endurance horses, you can generally give it in between loops during your races even. In some places in sports, however, you'll have to mix it in the feed on race day because horses have to take it in voluntarily. In yet others, you might have to give it the day before because nothing can be fed on the day. So again, please refer to your rules of competition before following the directions as I've written them. It's generally the route and timing of administration that can cause problems for you. It really is rarely the composition of the product itself. Prodorsa Boost is strictly comprised of nutritional elements, and those are provided in the highest USP and EP grades, meaning there's really no possibility for contaminants. Prodorsa Boost has been class determined to be a feed supplement exempt from registration as veterinary medicine in every country it's sold in. We submit every batch for quantitative analysis to make sure that what's on the label is exactly what's in the syringe. We submit every batch for culture to make sure that we aren't introducing a harmful bacteria. And finally, we submit every batch for analysis for common contaminants. Those are the naturally occurring prohibited substances that sometimes crop up on people's drug tests, like caffeine. So that's it, the entire explanation. I wish you all the best with your equestrian pursuits, and if you've got any questions, please do get in touch with us. You'll also find, if this wasn't enough information for you, and I can't quite imagine why, but we have a long list of informative blog articles and videos that you can watch from our website, www.prodorsa.com.
Well, coming up next, Andrew Bond visits the Donker Put Equine Centre in Colesberg and brings us this report.
Very unusual for a horse to have his dinner outside, unless of course he's permanently stabled outside. But I've invited Alamany to come and have dinner with me because I have no doubt in my mind that if he'd have had a choice between going from Johannesburg directly to Cape Town or stopping over halfway for some food and water and a little bit of tender loving care, that he would most certainly have chosen that route. And I have no doubt that people like Mike de Kock and Sean Terry are already alert to the fact that this particular facility, the Donker Put Animal Healthcare Facility, is available to them. And that's exactly where the South African Association of Professional Farriers held their recent clinic, where a very complicated procedure took place with a horse that was born at Maritzfontein, whose mother stood on him, and he developed a keratoma, which between Dr. Marnie Strauss and very highly qualified farrier Robbie Miller, here's his qualification, they removed the keratoma. So it was a very intriguing scenario for us lay people, but also a very eye-opening one for those people who had never heard of this facility very close to the N1. In fact, it's only 4 kilometers from the N1 on a tarred road, and it is manned by some highly experienced, talented and qualified staff. So if you want your horse to get really well looked after on the way down to Cape Town, look no further than Donker Put Animal Healthcare Facility.
The hoof capsule in itself is just such a wonderful structure, and for us as farriers, I think it's very, very important that we understand not only the anatomy of the hoof capsule or the hoof itself, but how it all works and how it all comes together. You saw in that demonstration over there when we did the resection, it was very important to know what the hoof wall thickness was, to know how far we needed to get to before we started to get into the sensitive structures. So knowledge of anatomy is very, very important.
When you got to 10 millimeters, you started to feel that maybe the blood was about to come. Obviously, there was a tourniquet to prevent it gushing forward, but you were right on the money, because when you did measure it, it was very close to 11 millimeters.
Yeah, I think it was just a lucky guess.
Yeah. The harder you work, the luckier you get. Bottom line is that you removed the keratoma, Keratoma.
Yeah, that's the correct term. This guy here in particular, Johnny, can tell you a little bit more about his history.
I've known him since he was a little oak. He was about a week old when his mother stepped on him. Caused a bad injury to the back foot. Because of his age and everything, there wasn't much more we could do than just treat it like an open wound. That was a long process, and it grew out with first a horizontal crack, and when that healed up, it became sort of almost a vertical crack. And we eventually thought we'd got this thing beaten. A little bit distorted, wasn't quite as close to symmetry as what they normally are. It started getting a little lame as he gained weight, and the keratoma inside the foot was obviously growing and creating more pressure. At that stage, we didn't know it was a keratoma. The vets where he grew up did an x-ray and they suspected a keratoma, and John McVeigh and the guys had another look at him and they confirmed the keratoma. Don't want to mention who the breeder is. I don't know if I'm entitled to do that or allowed to do that.
Well, it's just up the road, and they're very famous people that have saved South African racing.
Yes, they have saved South African racing, but it is Mauritsfontein. They are people that are passionate about the industry. I mentioned to them that Marnie Strauss, the vet at our facility, wanted the experience. She's a fairly young vet. She hasn't had the opportunity to do this kind of op. She wanted to do it. I thought I wanted to do the mechanical work there, but Robbie came around luckily, and I palmed it off on him, which was good.
So if it goes right, it was your facility. If it goes wrong, he did it.
Yeah, Robbie didn't. No, I saw the way he did it. It was a hell of a good learning curve. Thanks a bunch, Robbie. I really appreciate your efforts here.
You did the drilling. You made sure that the aperture was open and wide enough for her to remove the tissue that obviously is causing the unsoundness.
Yeah, I mean, general rule of thumb for farriers, when you get to blood, you sort of start moving out of your jurisdiction. So I created the window for her to do the procedure in.
The thing is, this operation, you have a high success rate. It wasn't a huge keratoma. There is obviously trauma to the foot, and there is always risk. And if somebody buys this horse at a sale and discovers later, oh, but you knew this thing had a keratoma, you're probably opening yourself up to lawsuits and whatever. We know what's going on there. We're happy to take the chance on it, see if we can get it fixed and go from there, and hopefully it all pans out good.
We're in a rural area. Most of the people can't afford proper care. Every person that comes in here, if I see I can't handle it, I ask them if I can refer it to them, either Bloemfontein for small animals, but unfortunately for horses and larger animals, it's Cape or Joburg, and most of the people can't afford it. The stud horses always, I say, please, let's try someone else, but they can't afford it, and it's a long travel, so you have to do what you can to them. And we're an amazing team. If it wasn't for Madiba, Temi, and Louise, we couldn't do what we do. And for some of them we try. I always say to the people, let's try. Let's give it a week or 2 weeks' time and see. If it's improving, then we've got a chance. And that's sort of our motto here.
So it's not, like a lot of people are accused of trying to keep horses for longer because they know that the horses are on medical aid and they can get more money from the medical aid. I mean, it's a sad reality of social media.
When I worked with Gary Player when he was still here, some of those horses were insured, and the first thing is we phoned the insurer, we talked to the guys in Joburg or Cape Town, and we refer those horses. But 99% of the horses here aren't insured. So you got to try and do what you can, not to shoot yourself in the foot, but you got to help the guys. And most of the time we get them through. Some of the times we have to say, listen, guys, we're battling. I can't do a colicop. I can't do major surgery here, but we can try. And sometimes we win, sometimes we lose. Yeah.
Well, I'm glad you touched on that because it makes so much sense to me to have people knowledgeable in the business of looking after your horse. And that's exactly why I think this amalgamation with you and John Murdoch has got to bear fruit in terms of horses passing through on the way to Cape Town.
Yes, it's really a teamwork. I can't do everything. I'm on my own here. I'm the only vet here. But I've got Madiba that looks after them. Every morning I ask him, how's the horses? Yes, they're fine. We walk through them and I can tell him, watch for this. And he's amazing. He comes back and he tells me.
I've been here for 3 years since they opened the place. But I'm coming from Gary Play, as you said, so I know all the horse racing. Races, so I used to sell their yearlings as well. So when this horse arrived, I just saw a beautiful horse, a nice one. So I was very happy to help him, and also will carry on to help him so that feet can heal. I love to work with horses. I just live them. It's like it's my life to work with the horses. I have 2 kids at home, so I'm just taking the horses like my babies.
Do you have a feeling about him? Is he going to be a good horse?
I said when that horse comes here, I said, to me, I just said that this is a Awam the second. So I think that horse will make this clinic grow.
I don't think there's one guy here that hasn't learned something. And that's the case with these things. It's never a waste of money or time or effort, because we're all passionate about what we do. We all shoe horses for a living, but it's also a passion within us, and you can never get your full of learning. But the faces that are here are the ones that are making an impact in this industry.
Initially, I sort of thought, oh, we're a little bit short. We would have liked a few more. A couple of chaps pitched up that I wasn't expecting, and I really appreciate the fellows who did come. It's been a really good crowd, and I would love for the people who haven't been involved to get more involved. As the SAPF, we're often accused of being hammerheads. We focus on shoe building and blacksmithing and all that sort of thing. For this thing, I put in a hell of an effort to make it a general farrier interest kind of clinic. There was very little blacksmithing. There were a couple of guys who wanted to know more about aluminium welding. Me, myself, sometimes it works, it doesn't work. I love seeing when it does work and picking up a few tips. But that was pretty much the only blacksmithing element in 2 days, and it took 45 minutes.
Gary Player will never be known as anything else other than one of the greatest sportsmen that ever lived, but he had a deep passion for the horse, and he chose to breed horses in the Karoo because he believed that the water and the soil was conducive to breeding good feet, and that's something that I think nobody can argue with.
For sure. Naturally, if you look where horses in the wild have survived, very often it's in a dry, arid area. And good, healthy horses, tough horses, sound horses.
Well, it's time now to take a look at this week's Foal of the Week. Well, that's a wrap for this week's edition of Breeding to Win, but take note, we've got a busy month of Breeding to Win, so join us next week for more Breeding to Win action. From myself, Julie Alexander, and the rest of the Breeding to Win team, good night.